Hello everyone, and welcome to my very first book review. Now, a lot of you are probably like, what's going on? This is a gaming channel. I know it's a gaming channel, and these videos will never take away from the 2 gaming videos I post every day. But a lot of you probably don't know that my second, or perhaps like a co-dominant, favorite hobby is actually reading. I have 2 bookshelves full of books in my room. I love fantasy, I love sci-fi. I really love to read as much, if not even more sometimes, than I like to play video games. So I decided I was actually going to start doing some book reviews as I finished reading books on this channel. Now, I'm not going to review books that are, shall we say, really well known. I mean, I could go through my whole bookshelf and review every single book I have there, but, you know, some of them wouldn't really serve much of a purpose. Like, there's no reason for me to review Harry Potter. There's no reason for me to review Game of Thrones. There's no reason for me to review Lord of the Rings. There's no reason for me to review even The Hunger Games, and that's not as big as, you know, those other 3. Because most people have either already read them or know that they won't like them because they've heard it from their friends. So I'm going to try and review books that I think are either, you know, are really good or really bad or somewhere in between, but are books that, you know, maybe not everybody's heard of. And so for my very first one, I'm going to start with this book. It's kind of hard to see because it's got a very shiny cover, but it is called Enclave. It's by Ann Aguirre, and I really loved this book. And I think if you like young adult dystopian books, kind of like The Hunger Games, it even says it, like right on the book, it says for fans of The Hunger Games, you would like this book a lot. It focuses on a female protagonist who lives in an extremely dystopian world where you have to listen to those above you, and everything just seems a little bit off. You know, they're not telling things as it is. I thought that this book was great, not only for the interesting story, you know, she goes through her process of becoming like a working person in this dystopian place called an enclave, hence the name. And of course something goes wrong, and she ends up getting kicked out. And I don't want to do spoilers in these either, but, you know, I'm not telling you anything that you wouldn't find out from reading the back of the book, which most people read anyway. She ends up getting kicked out of the enclave with a companion of hers who stuck up with her, and they have to try and survive in a place they've been told is completely deadly, and that's awful. So they have to go out and try and survive, and they've spent their whole time in this little bubble. And one of the things I think the author does really well, Ann Aguirre, is she captures what it is like for someone to see the real world for the first time. You know, the main character, was born in this tiny little, you know, tiny little establishment that has always just barely gotten by. And all of a sudden she has all this freedom, and she also has all this fear from things that she doesn't understand, things she's never heard of before, because she has grown up in such a tiny bubble. And I think it's really difficult to write like that. I like writing. I've actually written several pieces myself over the years that I've been on this planet, but I think that's so difficult. How do you describe the world? You know, things that we would consider really basic, trees, grass, the sky, clouds, rain, to someone who doesn't understand them. To us, they're just so, you know, ingrained. We grew up with them. But she actually captures what it's like to be afraid of all those things because they're scary. You don't know what they are, and they seem so vast and so great. And so, you know, when the main character is finally seeing the outside world and actually is understanding that she can survive out here despite what she's been told her entire life, that's a really interesting transition for this character. She also has to understand that, you know, out in the real world, not everybody is working together. You know, a lot of, you know, the whole Enclave thing is about everybody does their part and together we all get by. Out here it's kind of everybody for themselves. She has to deal with that. And, you know, there are problems, there are, you know, hiccups in the story. She doesn't get an easy life so far. This is the first book in, I believe, a trilogy. I have not read the others. I just finished this book yesterday? I think I finished this book yesterday. I tore through this. It's just over 250 pages long, I believe. Yeah, so it's not a long book by any means. Definitely a quick read, but it's a really good one, in my opinion. And I really hope that I can get to read the others, you know, when time allows me to. And I think that's going to conclude this first book review. Those were the things that really stood out to me. I have books I could go on and on for hours about. This book, not so much the on and on for hours kind of book, but definitely a fun read, definitely a good read, and definitely just makes you question, like, the things we've come to accept as so normal. Like, you know, what would it be to someone who doesn't see that as normal? And so any book that actually makes me think, or has a piece of it that makes me go, oh wow, that is, you know, really different, or, you know, I can't believe that they wrote this so well, that always stands out to me, because I do read a lot. And I think that this book would be great for anyone who likes young adult dystopian, like I said before, so I would definitely recommend this book. 5 stars, most definitely. So yeah, that's going to do it for my first book review. Let me know what you guys think of these videos. I'd really like to do them. You know, like I said, I'm not going to review every book I read. You know, I'm going to reread Harry Potter. I'm going to reread other things. I also don't want to review a book that I read too long ago, because I'm not going to remember the details very well, and I think that's important, that, you know, I have the ability, at least, to discuss the details of them. And like I said, this will not interrupt my gaming videos. However, these videos won't have a schedule. They'll come out when they come out, because, you know, some books take longer to read than others. Sometimes I have more time, sometimes I don't. But I really hope that you guys enjoy these videos, or at least some of you do, or someone out there does, because I think it's a really great thing, because I'm always looking for new books to read. I can't be the only one, right? So yeah. Anyway, as always, I'm the Purple Peggy Sis, and I will see you guys in the next book review, whenever that is. Bye-bye!